You have been told that wealth comes from the outside, from the market, the bosses, the economy, the algorithm, the right timing. You have been trained to believe that money is something you chase, that it sits somewhere far from you, deciding whether you are worthy. Neville Goddard would look at you and say something very different. He would say, "Your world, including your bank account, is nothing but your consciousness objectified." Not sometimes, always. The numbers, the bills, the opportunities, the closed doors, the lucky breaks, all of them are the outpictured result of the state you have been occupying within. You do not live in a world of causes. You live in a world of effects. The cause is imagination, your own wonderful human imagination. Think of the phrase billionaire energy. Most people attach it to effort. They picture someone constantly grinding, constantly pushing, unable to rest. In Neville's teaching, that phrase would not point to effort. It would point to a state where supply is assumed, a state where being supported is normal, a state where expansion is taken for granted. Not pride, not arrogance, a quiet inner certainty. That certainty is not given to you by a paycheck. It is created by your acceptance of yourself as one who is already provided for. This is the secret of a wealthy mind. Not more information, but a new concept of self. Look at how you quietly speak about money in your mind. I never get ahead. There's always something that wipes it out. I'm just not like those people. These are not harmless sentences. They are instructions. Every time you attach these ideas to I am, you are setting a pattern in consciousness. I am always in debt. I am always struggling. I am always starting over. You might never say those words out loud, but if you feel them to be true, they rule you. Neville said that feeling is the secret, not words repeated without conviction, but the emotional tone you accept as normal. Whatever you feel to be true of yourself, you will meet in the events of your life. So what is this inner power that changes everything? Neville used a simple name for it: I am. When you say I am and then add anything to it with feeling, you are using the name of the creative power itself. I am broke is not a description. It is a decree. I am always behind is not an observation. It is a command. When you accept, I am prosperous, even while appearances contradict it, you have shifted the cause. The world may take a little time to catch up, but it must eventually show what you have assumed. This is not positive thinking. This is law. Imagine for a moment that all your current conditions vanished. No contract, no job, no business, no debts. Only you and what you feel yourself to be. Take away every outer support, and what remains in you when you say, I am wealthy? Do you feel like a liar? Do you feel nervous? Do you feel undeserving? Those feelings reveal the state you have been living from. A wealthy mind is not simply a mind that wants more money. It is a mind that has accepted a new identity. I am the one who is always supported. I am the one for whom provision is constant. I am the one whose ideas bear fruit. When that identity becomes natural, circumstances reorganize around it. Neville's method is simple and specific. First, you decide what you truly desire, not from panic, not from envy, but from clarity. Perhaps you want recurring income, or freedom from debt, or a business that flourishes. Then, instead of begging an outside power, you go to the end in imagination. You ask yourself, if this were already fulfilled, what would I experience? Not someday. Now. Would you hear congratulations? Would you see a particular number on a screen? Would you feel the calm of paying every bill with ease? You choose one short scene that implies your wish is accomplished. Then you do what Neville taught again and again. You enter the state akin to sleep. At night, as you lie down, you let your body become heavy and relaxed. Your thoughts slow. The outer world fades. In that gentle, drowsy border between waking and sleep, you play your scene. If you choose to see a bank balance, see it until you feel the relief and gratitude of having it. If you choose to hear words of praise, hear a trusted voice saying, "I'm proud of you. You did it." Your finances are completely changed. If you choose to imagine sending a large gift or investment, feel the satisfaction in your chest as you press send, knowing it came from true abundance. You participate fully. You do not watch yourself from outside. You are the one acting, hearing, feeling. Repeat the scene gently until it feels ordinary, until it feels like something that has already happened. Then let yourself drift into sleep in that mood. Sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is what aligns you with so-called billionaire energy, the inner normalizing of wealth. When that inner normalcy is established, outer miracles become commonplace. Ideas come that you did not think of before. People appear with offers. Old debts are resolved in unexpected ways. Resources show up from channels you did not anticipate. Neville called this the bridge of incidents. You are not required to plan the bridge. You are required to remain loyal to the end. Your loyalty is not to the bank statement. Your loyalty is to the inner conviction. Many people will say, "I will feel prosperous when the evidence shows up." Neville turns this completely around. The evidence shows up because you feel prosperous. Feeling comes first. Form follows. This is why two people can work equally hard in the same field, and one seems to attract chance after chance, while the other remains stuck. The difference is not effort. The difference is state. One works from "I am valuable and well paid." The other works from "I hope I'm good enough." One expects increase. The other expects disappointment. Life echoes whatever expectation you truly carry. What about your past? What about the mistakes, the losses, the bad decisions? Neville taught a powerful practice called revision. You take a memory that still hurts, a denied loan, a failed launch, a time you felt humiliated about money, and you revisit it in imagination. You do not relive the pain. You rewrite the scene. In your mind, you hear approved instead of denied. You see the deal closing instead of falling apart. You feel supportive words instead of criticism. You persist with this new version until the old emotional charge begins to fade. You are not pretending the old event did not occur. You are changing the meaning you carry, and therefore changing the seed planted in consciousness. Over time, life starts reflecting the revised story instead of the original wound. A wealthy mind cannot be built on a foundation of unhealed memories. Revision replaces the root. It is important to understand that this teaching does not exclude action. When you occupy the state of the prosperous one, you will be moved to act. Ideas will feel compelling. Opportunities will feel obvious. You will make decisions from calm confidence rather than fear. Neville never told anyone to avoid work. He simply insisted that work without a changed state keeps you running in the same circle. Shift the state first, then let action flow from there. You may find yourself learning new skills, starting conversations you once avoided, raising your prices, or leaving situations that dishonor you. These changes are not forced. They are natural expressions of who you have decided to be. Consider how a truly wealthy person walks into a room. They do not scan it to see if they belong. They already know they belong. This is not about clothes or status. It is about inner position. When you adopt the inner position of one who belongs in abundance, you stop disqualifying yourself. You stop saying, "That's for other people." You stop refusing good ideas because you feel too small. You stop turning away from opportunities because you fear failure more than you love your desire. The new concept of self answers every moment. I am the kind of person to whom good things naturally come. From that standpoint, wealth does not feel like a miracle. It feels like the logical outcome of who you are being. So let this be your simple practice. Each day, notice how you speak of yourself, even silently. When you catch a phrase tied to lack, do not condemn yourself. Gently replace it. "I am always struggling" becomes "I am learning to live as one who is supported." Then, when you are alone and quiet, go beyond phrases and enter feeling. See the life you truly wish to live, not as a distant dream, but as a present fact in imagination. Walk through that inner home. Open those inner statements. Sign those inner contracts. Hear those inner congratulations. Carry that mood with you as best you can. Every time the outer world tries to pull you back, remember, it is only showing you what you previously accepted. You are free at any moment to accept something new. Billionaire energy is not a gift given to a special few. It is a state anyone can enter. The secret of the millionaire mind is that it stops arguing with its own desire. It stops saying, "This is too much for me." It stops worshiping the facts more than the imagination. It dares to say, quietly and firmly, "I am the one who lives in abundance. I am the one who uses wealth wisely. I am the one through whom supply flows easily and often." From there, your world changes, not by accident, by law. Your consciousness is the only true capital you will ever need. Guard it, shape it deliberately, and let your outer life witness what you have chosen to believe about yourself. Imagine, if you will, a world where everything you desire is already yours. A world where the mere act of wanting something pushes it further away, while the state of already possessing it in your imagination draws it closer to your physical reality. This is not a fanciful notion. This is the very law by which your inner universe shapes your outer life. In that world, you do not chase money until you are exhausted. You do not scramble for opportunities as if they are crumbs on the floor. You do not wake up every day as a beggar in your own story. In that world, you wake up wealthy long before the numbers change. You wake up in a state where abundance feels normal, safe, and available. You wake up as the version of you for whom wealth is not a miracle, but a natural expression of who you are. This is the deeper truth. Wealth does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your state. It begins in the first fragile moments of your morning, when you are hovering between sleep and wakefulness, when your subconscious is wide open and listening. You see, you have been taught that the morning is just a time slot. You get up, you check your phone, you hurry into the day. But on the level of the psyche, the morning is a threshold. It is a doorway between worlds. Behind you lies the underworld of dreams, symbols, and the collective unconscious. Ahead of you lies the visible world of tasks, messages, and money. In that doorway, you stand as a vessel between the two. You are the mirror through which the unseen becomes seen. In Jungian language, this is the place where archetypes wake up with you. The archetype of the king or queen, who stewards resources wisely. The archetype of the magician, who knows that imagination is power. The archetype of the beggar, who believes there is never enough. The archetype of the orphan, who feels abandoned by life and by fortune. Every morning, one of these figures quietly steps forward to lead your day. Every morning, you perform a ritual, whether you know it or not. This is where ersatz enters, the state akin to sleep. It is that soft, drowsy zone where your body is heavy, your eyes are half closed, and your thoughts float instead of race. In Sats, the critical mind relaxes, and the subconscious mind opens like a deep well. Whatever you pour into that well sinks straight down into the core of who you believe you are. Most people pour in fear. They wake up and immediately remember the bills, the debt, the mistakes. They remember their failures more easily than their potential. They grab their phone and let the collective shadow of anxiety flood their nervous system. They rehearse lack before they even get out of bed. Without realizing it, they begin the day in the archetype of the beggar. They wake up poor in their state, and then they wonder why wealth feels so far away in their reality. Your millionaire morning begins when you decide to do something different. It begins when you treat your first few minutes as an altar instead of an accident. It begins when you realize that the state you choose at the threshold is the spell that shapes your day. So imagine this. You wake up, but you do not move yet. You feel the warmth of your bed, the weight of your body, the softness of your breath. You allow yourself to hover in that in-between space. You say to yourself, "This is my threshold. This is my temple. This is my Sats." In that moment, you do not ask, "What do I want today?" You ask, "Who am I today?" You ask, "Which archetype leads my day?" You gently choose the wealthy one, not the showy, empty image of wealth, but the quiet, sovereign archetype who feels safe, supported, and capable. You see yourself in a simple scene that feels real and grounded. You might imagine yourself sitting at a wooden table in the morning light, opening your banking app and seeing more than enough. You might see yourself paying your bills calmly, with ease and gratitude. You might see yourself transferring money into savings with a peaceful smile on your face. You might see yourself giving a gift, supporting a cause, or helping someone you love simply because you can. You allow this scene to become vivid. You do not just think it, you feel it. You feel the relaxation in your shoulders. You feel the slow, steady breath of someone who is not drowning anymore. You feel a quiet inner sentence. I am provided for, and I am capable of creating more. In Sats, your subconscious does not argue with this. It does not ask for proof. It receives this feeling as if it is already true, and then it begins to reorganize your behavior, your perception, and your choices around it. The state becomes the script. The script becomes your actions. The actions, repeated, become your tangible wealth. From a Jungian perspective, this is literal alchemy. You are taking the lead of your old story and dropping it into the vessel of your morning. You heat it with emotion. You stir it with imagination. You infuse it with a new archetype of abundance and sovereignty. Over time, the heavy metal of your past beliefs melts and transforms into gold. To help you feel this more deeply, step with me into a simple myth. You are walking through a forest just before sunrise. The sky is a dark blue bowl above you, and the air is cool against your skin. Mist curls low along the ground, swirling around your ankles like quiet spirits. The trees stand tall around you, like ancient witnesses to your life. Ahead, built into the side of a small hill, you see a stone archway. It is half above ground and half below, like a doorway between the upper world and the underworld. This archway is your morning. This is the threshold your soul walks through every day. You step inside. The space within is dim, lit only by a soft, golden glow. In the center of this temple, there is a shallow stone basin filled with water, shining like a mirror. On one side of the basin stands the beggar archetype, thin, hunched, eyes full of fear, clutching at invisible coins. On the other side stands the sovereign, calm, grounded, eyes steady, hands open and relaxed. The beggar whispers, "There is never enough. You must cling. You must fear. You are always on the edge of loss." The sovereign says, "There is enough. You can create. You can learn. You can receive. You are not abandoned." You walk toward the basin and look down into the water. Whatever figure you focus on, the beggar or the sovereign, that face appears in the reflection. That reflection follows you out of the temple and into the day. You suddenly understand that you have been entering this temple every morning of your life. You have been choosing unconsciously whose face you wear. You have been performing a ritual without awareness. Your morning is the altar where your future wealth is forged. Your morning is the mirror that tells your subconscious who you are allowed to be. In your real bed, in your real life, you can begin to choose differently. You can decide that the empath, the sensitive one, the one who feels everything, is also allowed to be resourced. You can decide that you are not just a sponge for the collective fear, but an alchemist who can transform it. When you wake and enter Esats, you can allow the fears to appear and still refuse to let them drive. You can imagine those fears as small shapes at the edge of your inner temple. You can say to them, "I see you. You are part of my story. But today, you do not lead. Today, the wealthy sovereign leads." Then, in that same drowsy state, you return to your simple wealth scene. You feel yourself as the person who is okay. You feel yourself as the vessel that can safely hold more. You feel yourself as the mirror that reflects possibility instead of only danger. This is not denial. This is integration. True wealth does not come from pretending your shadow does not exist. True wealth comes from acknowledging the shadow and choosing every morning which archetype will sit on the inner throne. So let us put this into a simple ritual that you can repeat. When you wake up tomorrow, before you reach for your phone, pause for a moment. Notice that you are still drifting in the state akin to sleep. Remind yourself that this is a sacred doorway. Gently close your eyes again and bring your attention to your breath. Feel the weight of your body and the softness of the bed beneath you. Tell yourself, "I am at the threshold. I am between worlds." Then choose your archetype. Say inwardly, "Today, the wealthy sovereign leads." See yourself in one clear scene of abundance that feels grounded and real. Let it be simple, specific, and emotionally rich. Feel the emotions of that scene in your body. Feel the calm, the relief, the quiet confidence, and the gratitude. Stay there for 30 to 60 seconds, just resting in that state as if it is already your normal reality. Then, when you are ready, let your feet touch the floor with awareness. Imagine that with this simple movement, you are crossing the stone archway of the forest temple. You are stepping out of the underworld of dreams and into the daylight world as the wealthy archetype you have just rehearsed. Throughout the day, you can return to this state. You can remember the scene. You can adjust your posture and your breath to match the version of you that you felt in the morning. You can act from that place, not perfectly, but consistently enough that your reality begins to shift. I will remind you again, so your subconscious truly hears it. Your morning is the altar where your future wealth is forged. Your morning is the alchemical vessel that turns your old story into something new. Your morning is the initiation that you perform quietly every single day. You are not waiting for the world to bless you randomly. You are not begging destiny to remember your name. You are becoming, in your inner state, the kind of vessel that wealth can recognize and flow toward. Tonight, as you fall asleep, choose the scene you will visit in a Sats. Decide who you will be at the threshold. Then, when dawn returns and you hover again between worlds, remember the forest, remember the temple, remember the mirror. Choose the sovereign. Enter your scene. Feel the wealth in your nervous system before you see it in your accounts. Rise like someone who has already crossed an invisible threshold. You are not merely learning how to make more money. You are undergoing an initiation into a new identity. You are allowing the wealthy archetype within you to step forward and lead. Wake up wealthy in your state and let your reality follow. Guard your threshold like a sacred space. Honor your Sats as your personal oracle. Let every sunrise become a ritual of quiet transformation where you remember again and again that the world you desire is already reaching for you the moment you dare to become the one who already has it.